girl sends a message saying she's going to break up. The protagonist starts crying, unable to believe it, wondering if it's some kind of joke. He convinces himself she can't be serious. After all, he had plans for their future and was even thinking about marriage. But before he can say anything, she blocks him, leaving him slumped in his chair, agonizing over what just happened. A friend tries to call him to play a game but finds him passed out instead. When the friend tries to help, the protagonist storms out, slamming the door behind him. His friends are furious, saying he can't even keep a relationship together. Twenyuan is known as a hopeless dog licker, someone who follows girls around, spends money on them, and still gets nothing. After 3 years chasing Chiang, he's outraged that he's got nowhere. The scene shifts to the two of them talking while a crowd gathers to watch. The protagonist begs for forgiveness and hands her a piglet plush toy, her favorite animal. Whispers spread through the onlookers. People say he's been working 4 jobs just to support her. Chan Yue calmly explains that everything is fine, but after thinking it over, she realized she wanted to get back with her ex. The protagonist, already knowing her ex, calls him a jerk. He tells her straight to her face that the ex cheated on her and left her pregnant. Suddenly, a car pulls up. A guy calls her over and Chong climbs inside. Zach, the man in the car, clearly dislikes them talking and drives her away, while she says this way is better. At a convenience store, the protagonist is left devastated. As a bootlicker, he feels like he'll never have a real relationship. But then, something strange happens. A system appears before his eyes. It shows his information: name, Xuan Yuan, personal wealth, 230 Chinese coins, strength, 1 point. Then, another shocking line appears. He somehow has 90 billion Chinese coins reserved for being a dog licker. Confused, he wonders what's going on. Just then, a girl approaches, asking if something's wrong because he keeps staring at her chest. Chuanyuan glances at her and the system instantly scans her stats. Her name is Wu Li, 21 years old, 165 centimeters tall, weighing 49 kilograms, and almost an 8 in appearance. Her favorability towards him? -50. The system also informs him that if any chosen woman's favorability reaches 95, she can become his bootlicker. Before we move forward, these videos take a lot of money and time to make. A quick like and hype will help me a ton without costing you anything. Thanks for liking fast. The protagonist is confused, wondering if he really has to use the 90 billion coins from the system on women. The system calmly explains that the coins are already credited to his card and they can only be spent on women, and when any girl's favorability reaches 95 points, he will earn back 1/10 of the spending value in SP along with other rewards. Now convinced, Chen Yuan invites Wu Li to eat, promising to pay for everything. The system informs him that everything is ready and he can spend freely on her. It also adds that reaching 95 favorability points with any girl will grant him 5 ability points as a reward. Wu Li stares at him suspiciously, asking if he's just showing off his wealth. She's unsure whether he's really flirting with her and wonders if he has any chance at all. Chen Yuan keeps staring at her, remembering she's extremely powerful. She once made a guy spend more than 30,000 with just 3 words. In response to her teasing, he says confidently that if she doesn't test him, she will never find out. She smirks and tells him to buy snacks for everyone in class. Wooly looks down on him, thinking he dresses like a beggar yet dares to flirt with her. She decides to teach him a lesson, but Chen Yuan spends 50,000 without blinking. A group of students who had been mocking him suddenly realize he's rich, despite his shabby clothes. He tells Wu Li to relax, saying like that amount means nothing to him. Not being a fool, he asks if she would hide him on social media. Wu Li, curious, wonders if he's a second-generation rich kid who inherited everything and is actually a multi-millionaire. She agrees to add him, but insists he must go to a special place first. Let's see how I'll deal with you, she thinks. In front of a Gucci store, she says she isn't materialistic. She just wants to test his sincerity since his appearance doesn't match his spending. Chen Yuan thinks he might be thrown out of the store because of how he looks, but he smiles and tells Wu Li it's fine. She can buy whatever she wants. Inside the store, Chen Yuan spots his ex-girlfriend with Chun Kai. They're talking while she tries on a designer bag. Chudong quickly notices Chen Yuan isn't alone. Wu Li turns to him and asks him if that's his ex, warning this isn't a good time to be here. Chen Yuan dismisses her concerns, saying there's no bad time, they've arrived at the perfect time. Wu Li steps up to the counter and asks the clerk if they still have the spring collection bag. The clerk replies there's only one left, and Chudong is trying it on right now. Chudong's ex looks confused but smug, planning to show the difference between a loser and Chun Kai. Chudong then tells Chun Kai her birthday is coming up.
He frowns, remembering her birthday just passed, but she explains last time was her lunar birthday, and now she wants to celebrate her solar birthday. I told you I don't like materialistic girls. You're not with me for money, right? Chudong is speechless at his cluelessness. At that moment, Wooly takes the bag from Chudong's hands and says, Wooly says she'll buy the bag since it seems Chudong doesn't have the money, but she uses Chen Yuan's card to pay.
The moment he swipes in, the system notifies him that he's gained 20 favorability points with Wu Lei. When he swipes again, another 20. When she lifts the bag to her face, breathing in the new leather smell, he gains another 20. Chen Yuan is thrilled. Money really does change everything. 60 points from just one bag. At this rate, he'll reach her top favorability in no time. But there's a catch. If he hits 95 favorability with Wu Lei while spending so little, he won't earn much back from the system. The store clerk glances at them, confused. Some men look rich, but never spend a cent on their girlfriends, while this poorly dressed guy is spoiling Wu Lei like crazy. Chilang is left humiliated on the floor, while Wu Lei holds the bag and smirks, saying a bag is like a boyfriend. It's best to hold on tightly. She glances at Chen Yuan, thinking she can't let someone like him slip away, and starts giving him compliments. Tears in her eyes, Chilang bumps into Chen Yuan, accusing him of going too far. He laughs coldly. Too far? Chilang, you've got plenty more to suffer. But her anger triggers the system's second relationship scan. Chulang's information pops up. 21 years old, 163 centimeters, 49 kilograms, slightly higher rating than Wu Lei, and minus 10 favorability, with the same 95-point goal. Didn't I do a good job? So where are we going now? Wu Lei teases. The night's just starting, Chen Yuan grins. I've got plenty of money. Are you satisfied with just one bag? Wu Lei's eyes light up, and she starts grabbing everything in sight. Soon her arms are overflowing with luxury bags. Chen Yuan simply hands over his card. The store staff promise to deliver everything directly to her address. Each swipe earns them another 5 favorability points. Wu Lei keeps shopping until she's exhausted, not even sure where she'll put it all. Chen Yuan shrugs. No problem, I'll just buy you a house. This, however, backfires. Wu Lei favorability dips slightly. She tells him they should take it easy since they've already spent so much. Chen Yuan realizes he's scared her. It's not normal to buy someone a house so casually, even if you're a multimillionaire. The system lists Wu Lei's personal details. Junior at Fine Arts College, 21 years old, 49 kilograms, favorite color black. Chen Yuan casually mentions these facts, making it seem like he knows her perfectly. He then asks the clerk for a store card, loads it with 500,000 credits, and gives it to Wu Lei as an apology. She blushes, clearly happy. Leaning in, he whispers, "If you can't resist, you should just give in to me." Wu Lei giggles, "Oh, you bad boy. You're a bad boy." The system thinks another 30 favorability points. The staff whisper amongst themselves, amazed at how caring he is. Chen Yuan smiles to himself. With money, flirting becomes effortless. Wu Lei tilts her head, "You buy all this for me, but nothing for yourself?" Chen Yuan shrugs, "I don't have much money." Wanting to impress him, Wu Lei decides to treat him for a change. She uses the 50,000 her father sent to get him a haircut, some new clothes, and fresh sneakers. The system adds 5 more favorability points. Then another 5. Then another 5. Chen Yuan puzzles and asks he did something wrong. Wu Lei lifts his chin with her hand and smiles. "Nothing is wrong. I just think now we make a good couple." She thanks him for the special day. By the time they finished, Wu Lei's favorability sits at 68 points. Back at the dorm, Chen Yuan's friends notice his clean haircut and sharp clothes. They ask where he's been all day. He said, "I was on a date with Wu Lei," casually. His friends warn him. Not long ago, he was heartbroken over his ex, and now he's pouring money into another girl. "Be careful," they say. "You'll end up broke." Chen Yuan thanks him for the advice with a faint smile. Just then, his phone buzzes. It's a message from Chilang. "If you hate me so much, maybe it's best we delete each other's numbers." Chen Yuan looks at the screen, already planning how he'll raise her favorability next.
Before I continue, please drop a like on this video. This little support will mean everything to me. Now back to...
Zhuang wants Chuan-Wan to delete her number, but he has other plans. He wants to make money through her, not cut ties. Of course not. How could that be possible? "You'll always have a special place in my heart," he replies. She answers saying she's not with that guy because she wants to, but because her mother is sick and needs $50,000 for medical procedures. Zhuang is impressed and surprised when she suddenly receives a notification of $50,000 sent by Chen Yuan. Zhuang's friend asks where the money came from, and Zhuang explains it was her ex who sent it. "Wait,
Didn't you dump him today? That loser is this rich. Chuang starts to wonder if she made a mistake leaving him. But even after Chen Yuan sent the money, the system only gives him 5 favorability points. Chuang bombards him with questions. What did you mean by sending me money? Where did you get it? Why was Wu Lei with you? Why didn't you buy me a bag? Are you some second-generation rich kid? Chen Yuan silences his phone after 15 messages in a row, shaking his head and wondering if there's a more fun way to spend money on women. He comes across a girl doing a live stream with only a few minutes left before she closes. Frustrated, the girl asks if anyone's gonna send gifts or if she should just end it. Chen Yuan sees he can send up to $1 million and thinks this is far better than buying bags. He starts spamming gifts. The girl thanks him for sending a rocket. Then 100 more rockets flood her screen. The live chat explodes with confusion and anger as people try to figure out who's sending them. Chen Yuan grins and sends 900 more rockets, crashing her phone completely. At the streaming company, an employee rushes to inform the boss. Something unbelievable just happened. A guy spent $10 million on Sean's live stream. The staff goes crazy, unsure if Chen Yuan is laundering money or tied to the platform somehow. Other streamers notice his nickname and flood his inbox, amazed that he spent $10 million on one girl. Shuang, the streamer, sends him a thank you message, asking him if he's still watching since she's about to log off. But Chen Yuan has already fallen asleep after a full day of 3 money round. The next morning, his friends are buzzing over the news. Some rich guys spent $10 million on a live stream last night. They wonder what they do with that kind of cash. Chen Yuan quietly realizes he spent all that money and didn't build any kind of relationship. Opening TikTok, he sees dozens of messages from girls trying to contact him. While he scrolls, his friends are getting ready to go out. He asks where they're going without him. They say they're going to see the campus goddess Xiao Yuki, and they're going early to get close to her. They're surprised. Did Chen Yuan forget? Normally he's first in line whenever she appears, waiting until she leaves. The system displays Xiao Yuki profile. The beauty of the campus, vice president of the student council, level 10 in piano, skilled in ballet and fencing, an athlete, and the dream of every student. For 3 years, no boy has ever gotten close to her. She's completely unattainable.
Chen Yuan knows he will have to spend more money if he wants to conquer Xiao Yuki. Nearby, Shounen is talking to a friend, saying Chen Yuan only learned how to dress up after they broke up. She says she's afraid he and Zheng Kai will fight because of her. Her favorability keeps climbing. Another 10 points, then another 10. The protagonist is annoyed. So just because I dress better, her favorability rises? What nonsense, he thinks. My real focus is Xiao Yuki. Not far away, some guys are whispering about how they want to see if Chen Yuan can really win over the goddess of the campus. Chen Yuan approaches Xiao Yuki directly, asking for her contact information. Another student steps in angrily, demanding to know what Chen Yuan is doing. Ignoring him, Chen Yuan continues talking to Yuki, insisting she add him and saying he just wants to know her better and be friends. The angry student demands to know if Chen Yuan is looking for trouble and what he plans to do with Yuki. Taking a step back, Chen Yuan claims it's a misunderstanding, and he just wanted to join the student union since she's vice president and was looking for advice. The guy scolds him, calling him a pervert, saying that's no excuse to hit on her, but Chen Yuan, undeterred, asks again if she can add him on Snapchat. Yuki looks puzzled by all the commotion. Chen Yuan remains confident she'll agree. The student council president watching nearby says Chen Yuan is bold, even courageous, for putting himself out there to be mocked by everyone. Students from another class watch in surprise, whispering about his boldness. Yuki finally decides to give her contact. Shuang's friend watching asks what's going on. Chen Yuan just shrugs. I like beautiful women. Why should I hide that? Sometimes the simplest approach works best. What girl doesn't like being pursued? The system shows that he's formed a bootlicker relationship with Xiao Yuki, but 0 favorability. He's happy, but confused. Why would she give her contact to someone with no favorability at all? Outside class, his friends tell him he nailed it by getting Yuki's contact. They say he used to seem desperate, but now he looks confident. One joke said if Chen Yuan gets close to the student council president, he better introduce them to her friends. Chen Yuan laughs and says, they're exaggerating. She's the most beautiful girl on campus. It's not like I'll actually manage to talk to her. A voice behind him calls him a loser, but admit he has good taste. It's the same guy who tried hitting on Yuki and got rejected. He mocks Chen Yuan, saying he's proud of nothing since all he got was her number. Do you even know who I am? He sneers. Chen Yuan just laughs in his face. Then Shulei appears, asking why Chen Yuan took so long. She's been waiting for him.
Everyone watching is stunned. Shulei, and the girl known for rejecting every guy, was waiting for him? Chenjuan invites Shulei to eat as an apology for making her wait. She twirls, asking if he looks pretty in the clothes he bought her. Juwon nearby listened angrily. No girl looks pretty just because of clothes, Chenjuan says calmly as they walk off together, leaving the crowd speechless. The rejected guy mutters he doesn't get it. He was just one step behind, but somehow Chenjuan walked off with Shulei. Its whining stops when he sees Juwon watching from the corner. Shulei hands Chenjuan a drawing she made of him. I stayed up all night doing this, she says seriously. If you throw it away, I'll never forgive you. This is the first time in my life I've ever received a gift from a girl. Do you like it? Shulei stares at the drawing. Is this just some game to you? Are you just playing with me? Shulei's expression falters. You don't like it? Well, you give me better gifts in the future than just drawings? He asks teasingly. She gets angry and reaches for the paper. Give it back then. I won't, Chenjuan says, slipping it away. I'll keep it as a family heirloom. And I like you more as a person than any gift you could give me. He adds smoothly. Shulei blushes, impressed by how good he is at flirting. Ding, another 5 favorability points. She wants me to be her pet. Chenjuan thanks, but I'll just use her to make more money. Their moment is interrupted by another guide asking if Shulei isn't going to do her nails, and who Chenjuan is. Is he rich? The guy asks. Chenjuan notes, this guy looks like another of Shulei's bootlickers. It happens often. Shulei turns cold as ice. I don't know who you are, and you don't control me, she shouts.
The protagonist introduced himself and asked the young man his name and how long he had been following Suo. The man replied, my name is Yang Yu from the arts department, and he had been following her for 6 months. The protagonist called it nonsense. He then shared his own story, how he once followed a girl for 3 years, working 4 jobs, surviving only on bread every day, only to be replaced in the end by a man driving a Mercedes-Benz. Yang Yu was confused, not understanding why he was telling this story. But the protagonist spoke with weight in his voice, saying that people who turn their backs on you can become the drive for your growth. He asked Yang Yu why a real man couldn't have a wife of his own. He told him to return to his dormitory and make Suo regret her choice. Yang Yu was so moved that tears streamed down his face. Suo looked at him in shock, wondering why he was crying. She awkwardly explained that he was just a friend. The protagonist told her that he didn't care about her past, but pointed out that she neither respected him nor herself. He tore up the drawing in his hand and reminded her she could still use the card he gave her, but he didn't want to see her until she sorted out her relationships. He wanted to see how she would handle this, since it was the first time such a situation had happened. Suo lowered her head, regret filling her heart as she realized that he was the first person who had truly liked her. Somewhere in the air, her favorability toward him rose by 5 points. Yan reflected quietly. He had matured, settled things with Suo, and now it was time to move on. He went to see Ziyuki and found her live streaming. She looked the most innocent so far, never having done anything hateful. On her stream, she introduced herself as Kiki, practicing piano, and said she had been live streaming for 2 days. She politely asked viewers to take care of her. The protagonist thought she was cute. He wondered if the president was the kind of girl who looked cold outside but warm inside. Still, he noticed arrogantly that her view count was low. Was that really all she could get? At that moment, Xiaomi sent him a message asking where he was. He asked who she was, and she thought he had forgotten her. She reminded him that he had once sent her many gifts during her streams, yet now she acted like he didn't remember. He said he was only joking and asked if she was free to meet. She refused, saying she was busy. He ignored her. She quickly begged him not to be angry and promised to do a special life for him. The protagonist complained to himself. He still wanted him to spend money, but he was no longer his bootlicker. He had already wasted over 10 million on her. Fed up, he decided that money would now go to Xiao. Suddenly, a duel appeared on the live stream, a one-on-one match between streamers. Whoever received more donations would win. The protagonist's interest rose when he saw the president involved. He asked who her opponent was. Xiaomi laughed loudly, confident she would crush a beginner. He said he didn't know who would win, and the duel began. Xiaomi started with 10,000 points, while Yuki only had 206. Xiaomi taunted her, saying she should give up since she had the support of a wealthy backer, Chen Yuan. The chat went wild over the battle. Xiaomi thought to herself, if I showed all my skill, surely Boss Smokey would donate heavily to her. But then a rocket appeared on the screen.
She lit up, certain Yuan had arrived, and prepared to thank the protagonist. But to her shock, all the rockets went to Yuki's stream. Yuki's points jumped to 152,000 in an instant. Xiaomi's face twisted with anger as she realized none of the rockets were hers. A man from her side appeared, demanding to know why she hadn't received the gifts. Xiaomi apologized to her viewers, said she had urgent matters, and quickly ended the stream. The protagonist laughed, saying she couldn't stand it when he sent gifts to others. He admitted that he had wanted to see her reaction. Now, he only hoped the president would not disappoint him, considering how much he had just spent. Back at the company, chaos broke out. Everyone whispered that Ghost had struck again. They imagined the mysterious benefactor must be some prince's son to spend money like this. My god, Smoke just threw another 10 million at a girl who plays piano. Does he like music? One streamer cried, "Show! Get my triangle ready now!" Meanwhile, Kiki and her friend spoke privately. Her friend suggested that she might rise to become an internet celebrity after this, but Kiki only shook her head, saying that pleasing men online didn't feel like a long-term path. Kiki spoke firmly, saying that the most important thing for a woman was to have a career of her own, both financially and personally independent. Her friend asked if she knew the mysterious man who sent the gifts, but Kiki admitted she had no idea. She still wanted to send her thank you message. Her friend was indignant. "Didn't you say you didn't want to get involved with anyone?" She reminded her. Then she sighed, wondering aloud maybe she did know the guy. She speculated that he must be the son of an extremely wealthy family, raised with talent and riches, but choosing to live a simple life. Perhaps he wanted to find an ordinary girl and like her as a common man. She explained it to her friend that way, but her friend just shook her head, saying she had been watching too many dramas. Kiki imagined how difficult his life must be pretending to be ordinary. Her friend told her to go to sleep since it was late, but Kiki still wanted to thank Chen. Meanwhile, the protagonist checked his phone. A girl had messaged him, asking if he was free to eat. He replied that he wanted his favorite dish, crayfish. She agreed, telling him to meet him at the school gate in the afternoon. She didn't even ask where he got the money for the gifts, he thought. She just invited him to dinner. I want to see what she's up to. The next morning, the protagonist arrived at school on his scooter. A guy standing next to a Mercedes asked if he was waiting for someone. The protagonist asked the same to him. The man replied that he was waiting for his girlfriend. Soon, the pianist appeared. The man warned the protagonist not to look at her too much, saying that to win a girl like her, you need both hard work and a lot of money. Otherwise, someone like him would take all the beautiful girls. But Kiki's eyes lit up when she saw the protagonist. In her mind, he looked like a hero on a motorcycle. She ran toward him. The man smirked, thinking she was about to enter his car. Instead, she went straight to the protagonist's scooter. The man stood frozen, wondering what the point of all his money was. Kiki hopped on his scooter, imagining herself as his fiancée. They rode off together, leaving the Mercedes man stunned. At the restaurant, they ordered spicy crayfish. When the dish arrived, the protagonist set the table for her with quiet care. Kiki thought he hadn't forgotten how to be a gentleman, even when he had the chance to visit expensive places. He gave off a noble air, but stayed disciplined. As they ate, the protagonist handled the small crayfish, and Kiki laughed, saying it must be the tiniest one he had ever eaten. She admired him even more, thinking that Chen Yuan wanted a simple and peaceful life, without many worries. She said softly that he was as gentle as a flower. At that moment, he noticed he had gained another 10 favorability points. Kiki smiled and offered to feed him, peeling a crayfish and holding it out to him. Just as he was about to take a bite, someone arrived. It was Chuan. Kiki froze, worried Chuan had seen her feeding Chen Yuan. She turned to her boyfriend, suggesting they find another place since the restaurant seemed crowded, but her boyfriend raised his brows and asked, was it really the crowd she minded or familiar faces? He said he didn't care about eating in a crowded place. Then Chuan's boyfriend strode up to their table and tossed a stack of bills onto it. Here's 500. Get up and give us this table. The protagonist blinked. Does he think this makes him cool? The man threw more money, urging him to leave quickly, asking if he wanted even more. A staff member stepped in, offering to take the money and find them another table, but this only enraged him further. He demanded he only eat at this table. Suddenly, someone struck him with a handbag. A woman, previously unnoticed, pretended it had been an accident. The blonde man's face darkened. When he recognized her, he hissed, "Chakum?" The woman glared. "If I wasn't here, I wouldn't have caught you cheating." She
shouted, the man tried to calm her, saying he had misunderstood, that she was everything to him and he couldn't never cheat. But Jagum cursed him, furious. Kiki and the others watched as the blonde woman yanked his hair, crying that he had invited her and lied about being single. The man roared that she was making it up, then slapped her across the face. She collapsed on the floor and broke him. When he raised his hand again, aiming to hit her head, his wrist was caught in midair. The protagonist's voice cut in, sharp and cold. "You really enjoy embarrassing yourself, don't you?" In that instant, Lonely Smoke gained another 20 favorability points. The crowd whispered that the protagonist truly loved her. More points stacked up, another 20, another 20. The system chimed. The second target, Chen, had reached over 95 points. A message congratulated Chen Yuan for successfully reversing the bootlegger situation. The system displayed that Chen Yuan had spent 50,000 on his second target. In return, he would receive 5,000 back. Chuan had now been converted into his bootlegger and he gained 20 strength points. Chen Yuan calmly assigned 10 to strength and 10 to fitness. He flexed his arm, testing the change. The ballman demanded that Chen let him go and grabbed the bottle, threatening to kill him. Chen looked at him with cold eyes. "You're annoying," he said, then punched, shattered the bottle, and sending the men flying. The blonde crashed to the floor. Defeated, Chen said calmly, "Depending on a woman isn't shameful, but hitting a woman while doing so makes you despicable." The ballman bit his lip and clutched the balloon popper. Kiki grew nervous, urging Chen to end it quickly. Chuan's boyfriend charged at him, but Chen's boosted points made his movements sharp. He dodged easily, causing the blunt to smash into his own elbow and collapse again. The food court fell silent. Diner stared nervous as the man lay on the ground foaming.
Chen walked away, one hand in his pocket. Chuan, now a bootlicker, clung to his leg, begging for forgiveness and another chance. Chen's tone was cold. He reminded her of the boy who once ran 10 kilometers at 3 in the morning to carry her to a hospital. The one who saved half a year's wages to buy her a phone, only for her to dismiss it because it wasn't the latest model. The one who always forgave her vanity and still saw her as a good person. All those guys, Chen said, are dead. Outside, he spoke to the president. He apologized for the trouble. She smiled and said calling her president was too formal. He could call her Kiki. She admitted it didn't bother her and that she had seen another side of him. The more she learned, the more intriguing he became. She imagined he would bring her countless surprises. That night, Tuan returned home, soaked from the rain and crying. Her friend asked why she hadn't used an umbrella. Chuan was too shaken to answer. Then, her friend asked if it had to do with Chen Yuan, saying she heard he had gifted 10 million to Xiao during a stream. What? More than 10 million? Where did you hear that? Is it true? Chuan asked wide-eyed. Yes. One of his classmates spread the news everywhere, her friend replied. Chuan couldn't believe it. She shouted Chen Yuan's name for everyone in the room to hear. Meanwhile, Chen Yuan was at home playing Mobile League of Legends with his friends. They were shocked by his skill. 18 wins in a row. He hadn't realized how much the 20 attribute points had boosted his gaming. A guy with a stylish haircut told him that with his talent, he could be a streamer, earning millions and getting famous. Chen reveled at the strength of his new points, then glanced at his body, wondering who would benefit from it next. At the door, his friends called for him to come out. His phone buzzed with a call from Xuan. What tactics will she use to manipulate me this time, he thought. He answered coldly. Hello, Miss Shulei. Do you need to inform me of something? On the other hand, Shulei burst into tears. She said she didn't know what to do. She sat in an abandoned room filled with Shulei's unused purchases. Shulei explained that her once prosperous family had fallen into heavy debt. The interest piled up and they couldn't pay it off. She begged to borrow 500,000 from him. Chen Yuan only asked two things: what she wanted and for her to send the account details. Shulei was shocked, thinking he wouldn't actually transfer the money. She quickly sent the information. Moments later, he sent 5 million. She screamed, "You sent 5 million? It's too much!" He replied calmly, "I must have pressed an extra zero. Keep it." Her favorability skyrocketed, reaching 94. Shulei promised he would pay her back someday, her tears spilling with joy. Chen glanced at the number, frustrated. 94 points already, but still not 100. Should I confess? He shook his head. No. Those who reveal their true feelings lose. The next day, he was with his friends when someone called his name from behind. Turning, he saw Chuan holding a bag of pastries. She asked if he wanted breakfast. In class, his friends gawked, whispering in shock, why is she bringing him food? Then another voice called. It was Lily, holding more breakfast. She said he must be tired of cafeteria meals. The two girls glared at each other, and the atmosphere grew tense. But it didn't end there. A third voice called his name. Everyone looked, stunned. It was the president herself. She brought ramen. The three girls faced off in a silent bootlicker showdown. Chen talked to Ramen and asked Kiki how she knew he liked it. With a knowing smile, she said it was easy to guess since they had eaten together, and joked that the president easily won this round since he understood his taste. His words landed like a tab at the other two. Kiki added sharply that she would never bring food without knowing what he liked. If someone didn't pay attention to details, he wouldn't like them. It was like delivering a knockout punch to her rivals. Then she pulled out a gift, the latest iPhone. Chen's friends gasped. Their sleek device sparkled in their hands. One of his friends muttered, "Seeing girls give Chen gifts like this feels worse than losing my own father." The girl stared. The new iPhone, worth over 10,000, was now in Chen's hands. Chen Yuan told Higi that he had given her too much. She shook her head, saying he had spent far more on her. For her, it was the thought that counted since she didn't have much money. If you want to know what happens next, comment Sugar Daddy. If enough of you do, I will make a part 2. And trust me, it gets more crazy expensive and more risk. If you have any other manhwa, manga, or anime you want recapped on, let me know in the comments. I want to make as many videos as I can.